Saving money is for losers. Stop bleeding out your money by saving it. Let's dive into it. What's up guys, it's Kai here. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I make videos on investing, money, and finance. If these type of videos interest you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to stay updated on upcoming videos. Now, we're all taught as kids to go to work, earn money, and put money on the side for savings. And our parents always taught us to build our savings account and that it's always good to have a huge savings. But this traditional way of saving money is literally causing you to lose money. In this video, I'll be going over the two ways that your money is actually losing its value by saving it. One being through inflation and two being through taxes. And I'll also be covering on ways that you can save money and make your money actually work for you and grow instead of losing it. Now, before I get started, if you could go ahead and smash that like button, it'll really help support the channel and I really appreciate it. Let's hop into the video. So the traditional idea of saving your money is allocating a certain percent of your paycheck going to your savings account, whether it be 20% or 30%. And this money you just put on the side and it either go in a savings account, or if you go back to your old grandpa's days, they'll just take their cash and shove it under their mattress. Now, the problem with this is $1 today is worth less than $1 tomorrow due to inflation. Now, inflation is the general increases of prices over time, which makes the value or the purchasing power of your money less. So in the United States, over the past 100 years, inflation rates have been 2.6%. So that means your $100 today would only be able to buy $97.47 worth of goods next year. Contrary to the popular saying, cash is king, cash is not king. Holding cash actually causes you to lose money because it loses its value by 2.6% every year due to inflation. So I'll do a quick example for you using an inflation calculator to give an example of how much money you'd lose by saving. Say you got $10,000 in cash in the year 2000, 20 years ago, and you just shoved it under your mattress to save it for a rainy day. So in this calculator, I'll input the $10,000. 20 years ago would be the year 2000. Calculated, it shows that due to inflation, $10,000 20 years ago would be worth $15,114.98 today. So even though you didn't lose the physical $10,000, you've lost $5,100 of purchasing power. That's 51.1%. Nowadays, not much people shove money under their mattresses. And say maybe you kept your money in a savings account for the past 20 years. At $10,000, you put it in a savings account because savings account tend to give you more interest. So we can do a calculation looking at today's high yield interest savings account, which the highest interest they offer, which is 0.8%. We can do the same calculation. So using a savings account with an interest rate of 0.8%, saved over 20 years, we can do the same calculation and it comes out to be $11,727.64. So you made more money. Your $10,000 grew a bit because of the 0.8% interest rate, but due to inflation, you still lost money, about $3,300 worth of purchasing power. Which brings me to my second reason why you're losing money saving is taxes. Because even though that you're gaining 0.8% interest in today's highest high yield savings account, at the end of the year, you still get taxed on tiny percentage that you did gain off of your savings. And you'll get taxed at a higher rate at your income tax bracket rate, which is typically around 22% for most people. And you'll have to pay this tax no matter whether you withdraw your interest, spend your interest, or even keep on saving your interest. You'll have to pay this tax yearly. So your money keeps bleeding out there also. Using the same $10,000 example, if you had $10,000 in a high yield savings account yielding a 0.8% return, at the end of the year, your account will have grown $80. Then on top of that, you'll be taxed 22% of that $80, which would bring it down to $62.40. So if you divide that $62.40 by the $10,000 initial investment, your actual percentage that you're gaining that you could keep and spend is only 0.6%. So with inflation average being 2.6%, you'll still be losing 2% of your purchasing power every year. Those are the reasons why just stockpiling cash or putting your money in a savings account or even a CD is actually losing your money. So saving money is for losers. But don't worry, in the next part of the video, I'll be going over how savers can be winners. One sure way to beat inflation, to make sure that you're not losing money, is to invest your money. So instead of putting it in a savings account, invest your money in something like a mutual fund or dividend stocks. These are way better for long-term savings, and it's way less risky than picking individual stocks. So if you don't want to do the research, picking a large mutual fund would be one of the simplest things to do. There's mutual funds. You can go ahead and take a look at them here. Some have track records of 10 years, 20 years, some the return rates of double digits. And history has shown that if you just leave it in there, it'll continue to grow. Even if you pick one that only gains 8% a year, you'll still be beating the inflation, which is only 2.6% a year. And so instead of bleeding out money every year, your money will actually be growing in your favor. Another good place to put it is in dividend stocks. So dividend stocks, they'll pay out dividends, which means they'll make a percentage payment out to you every year. They'll distribute it quarterly, but generally every year they'll give you a certain percentage of how much money you have invested in the stocks. Now, some of these stocks have been doing this for so long that they have consistently paid out their dividends and increased it over spans of 20, 30-year periods. I made a video on this, on which dividend stocks are the elites and that have never missed a beat for the past 20, 30 years. If you'd like to see that video, you can go ahead and check it out here. But what's cool with these dividend stocks too is that they pay out dividends of like 6%. So that already beats inflation by over 3%. And it doesn't matter whether the stock goes up or down, the dividend payouts will keep coming regardless, constantly growing your money. And any amount that the stock share grows on top of that is even extra growth for your money. So that takes care of the beating inflation part and keeping your money growing. Now, this also takes care of the taxes part. Because this is an investment and you hold it or you want to save it for over a year, the taxes that you pay on it is way lower. It's called long-term capital gains tax. Now, again, this depends on what bracket you're in, but you could pay 0% taxes on all these gains if you make under $39,000 a year, or if you make under $400,000 a year, your capital gains tax is 15%. So already that's 7% lower taxes you'd be paying compared to the 22% income tax that you'd be paying, while this would be sitting in your savings account. So you'll be making out on taxes also. So by allocating your money in a mutual fund or a dividend stock, you'll be taking advantage of the yearly percentage growth, beating inflation, and you'll also be taking advantage of the tax benefits with your gains being taxed as a capital gains tax as opposed to the higher income tax rate. Now, a second way to make your money work for you and make your savings really grow is putting your money into real estate. Now, yes, real estate is a little more hands-on, but the returns can be incredible. And it takes care of the two issues we have, which would be inflation and taxes. So when you invest in real estate, there's 4 different ways that it will help your money grow. 1 would be cash flow if you're buying it as a rental. 2 would be depreciation, which would help with your taxes. 3 would be principal pay down, which we'll talk about more. And 4 will be appreciation, which is the increased value of your home over time. So when investing in real estate, you can really leverage your money and grow it exponentially. So for example, let's say you have $40,000 and you put that down to buy a $200,000 house. That's 20%. So you're borrowing $160,000 of borrowed money to buy this property. In today's low interest rates, you could lock in a 30-year loan at 2.75%, and your monthly payments would roughly be $653. Now, using that example, I'll show you how powerful leveraging your money can be using real estate. The first example of making money was cash flow. In the scenario that you'd be renting the place out to tenants, a lot of people focus on that, but let's totally forget that. Say you rent it out for $1,000 a month. You bought a townhouse. So with the mortgage payment and maintenance fees, the $1,000 a month just cancels it out and you're just breaking even on the place. So we're not even counting cash flow. We're not going to count depreciation or the tax write-offs you'd have on your property or the interest for your mortgage. We're not going to count any of that. For now, we're only going to focus on number 3, which is principal pay down. So you have this place. You're renting it out for 5 years. You're not making any cash flow. But as you're making your monthly payments, part of that payment is going to principal, which is bringing what you owe down on the property down lower. So after 5 years of making your mortgage payments, which none of it is coming out of your pocket, your principal that you'd owe from the $160,000 is now down to $140,000. So if you want to assume that the property value stayed the same and you sold it for $200,000, now you get back $60,000. Your initial investment was only $40,000. Now you get back $60,000, which is a 50% return on your money. But we all know that property prices don't stay the same, which brings me to point number 4, which is appreciation. So property value always tends to increase. Especially when you're buying a property, you always want to look for a place that has potential to increase in value. Depending on where you live, different situations apply to what is a good deal. So starting off, you want to look for a good deal. But let's assume that the property value increased to $250,000 over the 5-year period, and then you sold. Now after selling, the profit would be $110,000. That is almost tripling your money. That is the power of leveraging your money with real estate. And also don't forget, you'll also be able to take advantage of the lower tax rates, tax write-offs, and if you have cash flow from a renter, that's a bonus. There are some instances where having a savings account is good. It's generally recommended that you have a 6-month rainy day fund where you could live off of that and cover all your expenses for 6 months. In instances where you may lose a job or have an emergency, pay your taxes, or go on a vacation. But at the very least, put that in a high yield savings account so that your money won't depreciate as quickly. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. If you found that video helpful, please go ahead and share it with somebody that you think it could help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.